Hey everyone, welcome back to the Penthouse. This is MG here, finally being able to make a video because I got top 16 in the second Firestorm event last weekend on Penterror Heal. And so today I'll be going through the deck and some of the choices I made and then talk about all that good stuff. So we'll start off with the classic Alestrals. You'll see in like a majority of these lists where it's like triple Rabbit and triple Eddie, and then we'll go triple Specterrus. So we'll start with the Rabbit. Obviously, it's Ash Rabbit, right? It's one of the strongest Celestrals in the game right now. Just being able to get massive advantage. Just, well, not massive advantage, but, you know, it's a starter, right? It's something that helps you get more cards. It's something that you can stick on the board for if your opponent doesn't have some way to deal with it, or if you have some sort of macro to protect the rabbit, and just have like another body on board. Just overall really good card. You've got Eddie. So Eddie used to be seen everywhere, now everyone's starting to migrate towards Champ Galaxy because it is granted better. I kind of used it in this for two reasons. One, because I still value the 4 attack it has during your opponent's turn, and that's still pretty valuable in a lot of cases where it's like, oh, well, you're a 2, right, with Champ Galaxy, you have a harder time to get over it. Like, you need to have like a 5 or like some way to switch positions, like another Galaxy. But you know, point being, 4 is a good attack set still, so it's like I still want that number for them to deal with. And then the second reason is I don't have Champ Galaxy at all. I will go over changes I would make at the end of the video, and Eddie will be one of those talking points. Specterrus, another good generic card you see a lot in a lot of deck lists, because with Champ Like Avoid running around, it's one of the few soft counters, like not including backer obviously, but like it's one of the soft counters to the Like Avoid engine, because it's like with the 2 Werepups you get up to +6, and then you attack in the Like Avoid and go to 7, swing over, and then but it just deals with that, and it kind of just deals with a lot of different nuisances in the meta, like foamies, and you know, just being a 5 in general is a nice place to be at the moment, especially with the rise of like Sorlet in the meta, just like being a good 4 that you can swing over, like where have the Sorlet, or the Champ Sorlet, excuse me, Champ Sorlet swing over like Werepup and then go into Chrysor. But yeah, Specterrus will be a very good card for a while. Moving into some more deck specific stuff, we got 2 Sorlet, 2 Quackle, a Nimisale, and then we'll talk about Arcolife as well. So we'll start with Sorlet. Sorlet, another 5. You know, another great 5 to have. Its effect to change position helps deal with a lot more than something Specterrus can deal with, while still being cheaper than like something like going into Penterror, like Cryoverns and anything with a 4 in either stat kind of crumble to Sorlet effect. But even then, it's just nice to have a water enchanted Sorlet sometimes and just swing face if you have the option to do. Going into the heal part of the deck, we've got, you know, these 3 magical cards. I've tried double Nimisale. I ended up switching to 1. 1 ended up feeling nice in a lot of games where it's like game 1, I get Penterror. Or it's like usually for both. This applies to both heals. In like open game states where it's like not a lot's going on, or you know, I'm trying to get more spirits back than my opponent, I'll just normal cast a healer. Some other style for Nimisale specifically, there'll be games where I go into Penterror and I'm running low on spirits. I don't properly enchant the Penterror, so I still have a wind left, and then I go normal cast Nimisale, and I start getting winds back, and Now you have to now you have to deal with this Nemesail, or else I start healing more and more and more off of just like enchanting the wins I'm getting back, and then not even counting back row I have at that point. It's just like it kind of makes the difference in a lot of games. Quackle, like I said before, summoning it in open game states is really nice. I plan usually when I expend spirits, if it's not like if I didn't side out stuff and just like do like Lunar or Frost as like dummy spirits just take damage. I like trying to have enough spirits to heal in the underworld, so it's like I'll do make sure if I know which healer I'm gonna get, I'll do 2 wind first if it's Nemesail, or generally I like expending my thunders first because if I get Quackle or segue into Arcolith, I can heal his back. Arcolith, again, a fantastic card. It did really well. I'm pretty sure I got it out a few times during the tourney overall. Like, I know I got it in round 2 for sure. And the reason why I wanted to bring Arcolith was when I originally did some testing with the first version of the list, which thanks, shout out to Hunter Surge for the first idea where he got top 8 with a Penterror heal, and I took that exact same list with some minor changes to a P&M and got top 4. Arcolith was one of those cards where it's like, I put it in my side, and it's like, I don't know how I feel about Argo. Arcolith felt nice going into just this meta in general as well, because like people are not respecting it, right? Especially with people playing like a Void at all, right? They're usually summoning 1 to 2 Werepups and also have like a Void on board, right? You can just slap down an Arcolith and deal upwards of like 4 damage. You can recharge your Zeus. You can put more spirits on Ash Rabbit. But yeah, it's still a good card, even limited somehow. But it does some nasty damage if your opponent is not ready for it. I will say it sucks. It dies to Champ Galaxy, but you know, no point in bothering that. And then obviously the main backbone was triple Hydrake, 1 Twindra, and the Penterror, of course. Hydrake, another strong card in the meta right now. Being able to like have the next card we'll be going over in like 2 seconds. Being able to have Hurricane at plus this deals with a lot of boards that your opponent will just kind of be like, you put them on have the out, right? Where it's like, hey, do you have Earthquake in hand? Do you have Laurels? Which not a lot of people are playing. And if you didn't Hurricane, right? Where it's like, do you think they have Shield? Obviously, so I wouldn't try to swing with Hydrake if you don't have a way to secure Twindra. But generally, another thing I like doing, at least in this variant of the deck, because I've played different variants before, having Hydrake as like kind of if you have like how to explain this? If you have different ways of kind of making your opponent just like use back row on a Hydrake, like sometimes it might be worth it. It like depends on the situation, obviously, because Penterror is like really strong, and you always want to try to go into it. But like, you know, making your opponent use back row on stuff can end up just biting them in the butt a little bit. But yeah, with Penterror, for me, I didn't really properly enchant it a lot. Mostly because I wanted to have that extra wind or 2 in the Spirit deck, just so I can start doing either Nemesail stuff or just like having it as a heal option. But sometimes I did, just as like a last ditch effort, and you know, it's still a decent effect. But generally, I think I misenchanted Penterror a lot. But overall, really good card combo. Really good into this meta. We will go into the runes next. We'll do some of the staples, or some of the invokes. We will go. Alright, so we've got double Hurricane, 2 Cryoblast, 2 Zeus, and then Earthquake. We'll start with Hurricane. Hurricane's a really strong card right now. because with a lot of reliance on back row, right, you want to get your Penterror off as much as you can, at least generally, if you have the spirits for it, and it's like early enough, or it's like they don't have an answer. Clearing back row, like 1 to 2 back row, or excuse me, like usually 2 is like the number, right? And sometimes 1 if you really need like the hydrate to connect. But just it's a very strong effect for, even though it's like really expensive, like you're natively playing wind, water, and thunder, so it's like it's a kind of a no-brainer to the main deck, at least for me. We'll do Cryoblast and Zeus kind of together because they kind of fill the same slot. Cryoblast, I mained Cryoblast because I wanted to pair it with Zeus, right? One, I don't like Fire, right? Fire ended up being a really popular showing this last event, where it's like, I think it's the most represented deck, and like there's like 3 different decks on Kinleo and Top Cut, like somehow, like, oh my god. Anyway, Cryoblast does a really good job against Fire, right? And it also just helps deal with a lot of 2s that are running around, like Viscerus is starting to make a comeback because now you can play the 3rd Vis. Anything in Fire, like I mentioned, like Kinleo and Volcaries. But now if you pair it with Zeus, right, now you can start killing 5s, like that old theory people keep talking about, where it's like, you can kill any 5 with Zeus plus Cryoblast. So you can kill Like a Void, you can kill Galaxy Champ if you really need it, or Ash Rabbit if you really needed it. Wouldn't recommend it, but dire straits sometimes. Anyway, talking about Zeus a little more. Zeus, really strong still. Even without the Elchik, it's still a good card because like being able to lower combat math by that much, multiple turns, is like nuts. And it really helps out this list because it's like you want to be, you want a tempo, you want to make sure you can get rid of a thing every turn. And if you have a healer, right, you can always just Zeus down to something else, and then you have to make them do something for the healer, or effectively for the Zeus. But, and then another pair of spot removal, we've got Rafwig. Like a Void, again, really strong, so it's like, if you don't win the coin flip, you can maybe see it. Just dealing with any 2 drops, or even 3 drops, depending on who you are. Being able to deal with those just like on the spot without having to go into Penterror as your only option is still really strong. Yeah, it's usually an auto-clued in like a lot of decks in some capacity. We'll go over some of the basic staples. Triple Ambrosia, we gotta play it, right? Especially in this kind of deck where it's like, you want to make sure you have enough spirits so you can do Penterror without, losing, I guess. Like, having 6, you want to have more than 6, right? Because, obviously, Hydreic is 1, Tundra is 2, and then Penterror is 3, right? But you want to have more than that, so you have a way to start healing back stuff, without, expending from the Penterror. But yeah, Amber good, until we get more healing options, it's just going to be kind of a staple that a lot of people are running. For the counter room lineup, we've got triple Gorgons, we've got triple Shield, triple Tsunami, and then double PTA. Gorgons is Gorgons, right? It is probably the best card in the game right now, if not one of, right? Because if you look at the stats for what cards people are running, every single deck had Gorgons. Even the janky stuff, like Blistrix, right? Even then, when those decks want to run less back row, they still run Gorgons, right? So it's like, it stops literally everything. It's a silver bullet to a lot of strategies, and it's just like a really good card overall. Triple Shield, it's really good in metas where people are starting to bring more 2-drops, which we are, in fact, in. We've got Like a Void, we've got Chrysor, which is a little shaky, but you know, you have to do what you have to do sometimes. Making sure you just keep guys on field and just you have more than they do, and just keep tempo that way. That's a big reason to have shield at 3 right now. Tsunami, I had Tsunami at 3 because I think it's really strong. I know that a lot of the Penthouse guys were discussing it before. We think Tsunami's kind of strong at the moment because, or at least Triple Tsunami. Obviously, people run Tsunami too, but Triple Tsunami is nice because not a lot of people, or the amount of decks that are able to play around Tsunami is like lowering, right? If you look at Like a Void, where it's like most of them don't commit the spirit to the full moon, a lot of them have the math, so it's like you do Misenchanted Full Moon, and then you go Like a Void, or Warp Up Like a Void, you know, yada yada, and then you use those 4 lunars on those 4 things exactly, rather than having 5. So that's a big thing. Another deck that was popular that can't really do well into Tsunami some cases was also Volcaries. The Volcaries artifact, whatever you want to call it. Those sort of decks where they want to swing with Volcaries with Torch on them. They don't have fire. They don't have water spirits on it, right? So I think it's really strong. It's also really spirit efficient. Just being 1 spirit to just stop multiple attacks is just really good. And then finally PTA. There will be cards that you just kind of want to make sure they don't keep, and just like try to keep combo, or not combo, keep tempo. Stuff like keeping like Astrabbit if you don't have a response, if you don't have like Galaxy or Eddie in your hand. And then either just bigger guys also, you kind of just have to eat the damage, especially if they play in defense. It's also a really good Nixon Mirror killer if you end up seeing it. I didn't see any Nixon Mirrors at all. I didn't see any Frost. I was kind of banking on seeing Frost with how well it did last premiere, but yeah. Anyway, that is the main deck. We will go talk about the spirit decks a little bit. There isn't too much science behind it. We'll talk about the main spirits though. We're on 6 wind and then 6 thunder. These ratios I felt fine with because you need at least 3 for the Penterror, like minimum, because you got 1 for the Hydrake and then 2 for the Swindra, and then these 3 can be used for a myriad of things where you can go use 2 for Starlight, you can use 1 for Nimisail and get stuff back, or you can just use these 3 for Penterror. Same thing with the 6 Thunder Spirits. Generally, you want to use them for Zeus. You want to like make sure you use like 3, so you have a way to heal with Quackle, or you can have a way to heal with the Arcolith and then still have 1 left over that you can use for Quackle, or like whatever else you have. It just kind of depends on the game and what you draw and what you think you'll see. But I wanted to try 7 Thunder, but it's kind of hard, especially when I'm not sighting out spirits, as we'll see in a second. Talking about the rest, we've got 2 Earth for Earthquake, Triple Water, 2 Loons, and then Frost, and then 2 Special to say. Since I'm running Cryoblast, I gotta run the Flare Mine, and then 2 Spectrus, and then 2 Moon. Pretty simple. Yeah, nothing too fancy about that part of the deck. We will talk about some of the side deck options I had going to the list, or going to the tournament. We will start with double Panda Box. PK Sparks Rejoice. We're talking about Pandora's Box. I really like this card in the side. Go figure, right? So obviously going into this format, right? Everyone is worried about certain things, like a Void. People worried about bears, right? And Pandora's Box kind of stops both of them, right? So, like, with Ursaden, it completely shuts down that. that effect, and you go +2 on it because like they have to spend 4 spirits, or they gotta spend 4 spirits. They gotta do hibernation. They gotta do all these things in order to get the Ursaden alive, and then you just have this set, and then you just kind of negate their efforts. And now most lists only run one Ursaden, so it's like now they are kind of out of luck on that part, and they have to like normal ascend into Madrasa if they want the effect still, which is not going to happen. So it's pretty much game over on the spot. Also versus Werepup, it's like it acts as like a 4th and 5th Gorgon's Gaze, like being able to stop somebody going into Werepup, or excuse me, stop a Werepup from ascending. Being able to do that is really, really good, and it actually helped me win a game, my game 3 versus Trish, where I had both Gorgons and Panda Box set, and it kind of just ended up winning me the game because I just kind of kept tempo more than he can get it back, and I just kind of ended up winning. But yeah, Penterror's box, really solid card. I don't think it'll go anywhere. I might bump it up to 3. I probably wouldn't. 2's fine. I like my ratios of two O's in most of these sides. Double Boom Bat, they were for Blizz, Insane Blizz. They're also for like big stuff, like big guys decks, which I didn't really see much of. I saw like what Volt Tempest, like game 2. Excuse me, Champ Zeus. It was a Champ Zeus deck. It had Champion of Zeus, Volt Tempest. He like normal ascended it, and I just kind of had Penterror, but that's the point. It can deal with Myco Void in theory, but it's like, you know, normal cast it, they don't have anything. You got rid of the Werepup, good job, or like Void, good job. Now you got to deal with 2 Werepups, and then now an additional normal cast, and it's just like yuck, a lot of nasty stuff. Yeah, it's just mainly for the big guys in the format. We've got our small stadium package of 2 Jolton and Mount Olympus. Stadiums was another thing I was prepared for, because again, for Frost being relevant, I kind of wanted to prepare a way to better deal with it. Even though I do like Frost enchanting a sword occasionally, or like an Eddy if I'm really desperate. But this package came in not a lot because again didn't face any Frost, but it would come in for those. But generally also just Jolton being a 5 under Mount Olympus, and also Arclift being like what 8 minimum attack, like 11 max, right? Under Mount Olympus is crazy value. It kind of is weird with Spirit Math, but you know, that's more refinement that I definitely would see. I want to see in this list. Some more. We'll talk about these. 1 resting, 1 PTA, and then double galaxy error. Excuse me. Resting is still good, right? It's not as good because again, if you're facing Werepup like Avoid stuff, you're not going to be able to use it at all, right? Because the Werepups are going to eat the laurels, and you're not going to be able to get the Lake Void out, which is what you really want to get rid of. But it's still good into other decks. Like, I ended up citing it in a lot versus like Fire Artifact still. Actually, that's not true, because there's the both fire related lists I faced were both on Werepup, because of course they were. But just generally any decks that aren't playing Werepup, you could cite in laurels. PTA, more for rogue options, and also, again, it's another Nixamaris killer, where it's like, if they are ascending into, let's say, Fallen Form, right, you can just play PTA on the cast of or Ascension of the Fallen Form, and just kind of get rid of it on the same turn. I don't think I ended up citing it in too much, because of my matchups, but, Galaxir, being able to get over a lot of different 5s in the meta is nice. Like, just being able to switch things and just having it be constantly on field and kind of punish your opponent for playing defensive. Its stats are in a weird place because a lot of people are running 4 different like 4s, or like, you know, in the same vein of like Galaxy or Champ Galaxy also gets over it. So it's in a weird spot. I didn't really set it in that much, except the stream match I had, but my deck ran out of steam past game 1 of game 6 or round 6. So it's the thought that counts. Anywho, we'll talk about the lesser brought in stuff. So Nimisale, the extra Nimisale, we got the Specterus and the Magnetic Force Field. Nimisale is mainly for time. I didn't end up going to time in any of my matches. A lot of them were done pretty quickly. I think a lot of them were just like 2-0 and me favored, or a lot of the only one that was like really close to time was the stream match, and then also I think Trish's game might have gone close-ish to time. I do not remember. But anyway, didn't really need Nimisale at all because I didn't go into time at all. There's Specterus is for those like avoided matchups. It's also for in case like some sort of rogue matchups where just Specterus just kind of destroys the matchup. And then we've got 2 Magnetic Force Field. I don't like playing against Burn. I didn't play against any Burn deck. The most was probably Adam maybe siding it in against me, but like we play against each other a lot, so it's like he knows my list, he knows I know his, but it's like his list is just better because he has Kenleo. But anywho, I didn't really side it in at all. But yeah, that is the list. Some things I would change. Obviously, Eddie's would 100% be Champ Galaxy if I had it. I also want to test out Monsoon. I forget the full name, but you know, everyone knows what I'm talking about. Monsoon in the side over like something like Magnetic Force Field would also be something I want to test out to see how it fares, because it helps generally in fire artifact lists. It helps with that. I think it helps with Blizz also, where it's like you just suppress the owl that's on field. In some cases, like on cast. But there's a lot of things to it. But those are the 2 main things. But yeah, that is the list. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you comment some of the stuff you're excited to see this next month, because we've got the the big Atlanta tournament happening. So I'm very excited to see what people bring. But anyway, this is MG and the Penthouse signing out.